Hello, and welcome to the Army Sustainment Command Packaging, Storage, and Containerization Center's video series on the care of supplies and storage, or COSIS. Module 3, Preservation Requirements Walkthrough. This module will address the following topics: Process Overview, Packaging Code Lookup, Interpreting Packaging Code Elements. In the previous module, we learned about the 12-character packaging code and became familiar with the doctrine used to interpret it. In this module, we will perform a step-by-step walkthrough to determine an item's preservation requirements. At the conclusion of this module, we will have a list of all the materials and instructions needed to correctly preserve the item. In the next module, we will use these materials and instructions to physically remediate an item. Let's begin with a step-by-step overview of the process. We begin by entering a NIN into FedLog. The FedLog Packaging tab is used to look up the item's packaging code. We then use MIL Standard 2073-1 to decipher that code. For the MOP, we refer to Chapter 5 and Table 2 of MIL Standard 2073-1. Here, we will determine the type of environmental protection required and the barrier materials that will satisfy that requirement. Then, the Appendix J tables are used to obtain the materials and processes for the remaining elements of the packaging code. When determining preservation requirements, it is highly recommended that you use a remediation worksheet like the one seen here. Using a worksheet will collect all of the packaging requirements in one place to ensure nothing is overlooked, and it will provide a record of the remediation. You can obtain a copy of this worksheet by contacting PSCC. Now that we have our worksheet, let's begin. First, date the worksheet and record the NIN of the item you wish to preserve. Open FedLog. Make sure the appropriate service tab is selected and enter the item's NIN. Then, click the Search button. Click on the Army Packaging tab to view the 12-character packaging code. Record the 12-character packaging code on the worksheet. Here, we see that none of the packaging code elements are ZZ. Therefore, there are no supplemental instructions for this particular item. We also observe that the MOP is standard and not specialized. All standard MOP codes are numerical and can be found in Chapter 5 of MIL Standard 2073-1. Specialized MOP codes are alphabetical and located in Appendix J table J1A. We begin with the MOP. This code will lead us to two pieces of information. It will tell us the overall method of preservation, and it will also tell us the specific barrier material we need to use to satisfy that method of preservation. To accomplish this, we will need to look at Chapter 5 and Table 2 of MIL Standard 2073-1. First, go to Chapter 5 and locate your method of preservation code, which in this case is 41. Use the remediation worksheet to record the full MOP description and the MIL DTL 117 specifications as shown here. Each MIL DTL 117 type, class, and style corresponds to a specific barrier material that will satisfy the given MOP, which in this case is a MOP 41 water vapor-proof bag. For this example, there are 6 different barrier materials we can choose from. Note that with a little experience, you will be able to quickly identify the specific barrier material you require, and that is the only barrier material you will need to record on the worksheet. However, for this exercise, we will list all possibilities and go through each of them to demonstrate the thought process required to reach our decision. Ultimately, the barrier material we choose will be the most cost-effective solution that is appropriate to the item we are preserving. To find the barrier material, we will use Table 2 of MIL Standard 2073-1. Since we know our MOP is 41, locate that number on the table. The only acceptable barrier materials for our item will be listed next to this MOP number. Next, observe at the top of the table, you have column headers for MIL DTL 117, type, class, and style. We will begin with the first MIL DTL 117 specification from our worksheet, which is Type 1, Class E, Style 1. Locate these specs on the table. Directly to the right of this is the barrier material we are looking to find. Record this on the packaging remediation worksheet. Repeat this process for the remaining MIL DTL 117 specifications to obtain all of our barrier material choices. Now that we have a list of all the potential barrier materials, we must decide which is best for our specific application. In this example, there is nothing in the packaging code or supplemental instructions to indicate any special requirements, beyond providing water vapor-proof protection. Therefore, the best and most cost-effective choice will be the most basic one. It is important to note that, for a given MOP, Table 2 lists the most basic barrier material that will satisfy the MOP first. Then, any additional barrier materials that may be needed to meet some kind of unique requirement are provided. Based on this knowledge and a good understanding of our requirements, we can see that for this item, MIL-PERF 131 Class 1 is the most basic option and therefore our best choice. To enhance our understanding of why MIL-PERF 131 Class 1 is the most basic option, we will examine each barrier material in more detail. Starting with MIL-PERF 22-191 Type 1 Class 1 or 2, we see from the characteristics that it is a transparent barrier material. Clear barrier materials are useful when periodic visual inspections of the item are required. This enables the item to be assessed without the need to compromise the protection. However, this type of material is approximately 4 times more expensive than MIL-PERF 131 Class 1. Next, we have the combination of MIL-PERF 131 Class 1 and MIL-PERF 22-191 Class 1 or 2. This is also not the best choice for the same reason as that just mentioned. Because there is no indication the item requires visual inspection, there is no need to use the more expensive transparent barrier material. Next, we have MIL-PERF 81705 Class 1 or 2. We can see by its characteristics in Table 2 that this barrier material provides electrostatic and electromagnetic protection. Items that are identified as electrostatic discharge sensitive, or ESDS, must always use this type of barrier material and will typically have a MOP code of GX. This is not a good choice for our item because this type of barrier material is considerably more expensive than MIL-PERF 131 Class 1 and does not provide any added benefit. Also, since MIL-PERF 81705 is always associated with ESDS items, using it to preserve a non-ESDS item can cause unnecessary confusion with regard to how the item should be handled and marked. Lastly, we have MIL-PERF 131 Class 2 and Class 3. As seen here, the characteristics column does not provide any useful information to differentiate between MIL-PERF 131 Class 1, 2, or 3. They all say the same thing. Therefore, we need to reference the specifications to see the differences. Looking at the MIL Standard 131 specification, we see that Class 2 clearly states that its use is limited, Because it is rarely used, Class 2 would need to be specified in supplemental instructions or specifically called out in a special packaging instruction. Class 3 has a scrim backing made out of a woven fabric. The scrim backing found in Class 3 makes it significantly more tear and puncture resistant than Class 1. However, it costs roughly 3 times as much. To reiterate, our item does not have any unique considerations above and beyond water vapor-proof protection. As such, Mil-Perf 131 Class 1, being the most economical water vapor-proof barrier material, is the best choice. Now that we have determined the mop and the barrier material, we can move on to the remaining elements of the packaging code. This information can be found in Mil Standard 2073-1 Appendix J. Specifically, the Appendix J tables J2 through J7 will provide the information we require. Referencing our worksheet, we observe the next code after the mop is cleaning and drying. This information can be found in Table J2. The table informs us that for a code of 1, we are to employ any suitable cleaning process that is not injurious to the item. Record this information on the worksheet. Next, we will examine the preservative coating requirement. You may recall from the previous module that a code of 00 always indicates there is no requirement. However, this information is also included in the Appendix J tables as well. Preservative coating codes are found in Table J3. Record this information on the worksheet. After preservatives comes the wrap material code of GB. Wrap codes are found in Table J4. For a code GB, we can see from the table that we are to use Mil-Perf 121 greaseproof, waterproof barrier as our wrap material. Record this on the worksheet. The cushioning and dunnage code is BG. Cushioning and dunnage is found in Table J5. For a code of BG, the material requirement is AA1898, Grade 2, water-resistant cellulosic cushioning. Record this information on the worksheet. The thickness code is C. This code can be found in Table J6 and indicates a cushioning thickness of 3/4 inches. Note that this is the minimum thickness allowed. When remediating an item, always use as much cushioning as necessary to effectively prevent any physical movement of the item within the unit container. Record this on your worksheet. The final element of the packaging code we need to interpret is the unit container code ED. Unit container codes are located in Table J7. As seen here, code ED correlates to ASTM D5118, type CF, class weather resistant, corrugated, fiberboard box. Record this final portion of the packaging code on your worksheet. At this point, we now have the mop, the barrier material, cleaning requirements, preservative requirements, wrap material, cushioning and cushioning thickness, and the unit container. In short, we now have all of the information we need to perform a remediation of the item. In this module, you learned how to go step by step through the preservation requirements process. First, we used Fedlog to look up an item's packaging code and then recorded that code on our packaging remediation worksheet. We then used Chapter 5, Table 2, and Appendix J, found in Mil Standard 2073-1, to complete the worksheet. Completing the worksheet will ensure all aspects of the packaging code are accounted for and nothing is overlooked. The end result of our efforts is a complete list of the materials and processes required to remediate the item. This concludes Module 3. In Module 4, we will perform a packaging remediation based on the remediation worksheet we completed here. And always remember, knowing that your stock is ready for issue in Batch Code A condition isn't an accident. It's COSIS. Do you have a packaging, hazmat, shelf life, or WPM question? PSCC Packaging and Transportation Division wants to help. Give us a call or send us an email and let us know how we can assist you.